dry January on bullshit takes.
Oh my! Please.
I guess that means no more 5 out.
Yeah, our content gonna start slowing up if you that.
Those hater guides are gonna have to wait till February.
Hey, it's so funny you mentioned that because the next question I have for y'all is your hot take for 2025.
You know what? This is good though because it's still
It's okay. We have 48 hours.
We gotta get it out. We gotta get this out quick.
Greer, you go first. I will cede the floor to you first.
My hot take for in prediction, right? For
it could be whatever you want it to be.
I don't know. Do I want to go college? Do I want to go pros?
You want to go Paige Becker's opt out and threatens LA?
Okay, wait. I never got to get that off. Okay. I never got to get that off.
This is perfect. This is perfect.
Listen, Paige, if you want to pull an Eli Manning, I don't know who the Archie Manning is in this. Maybe it's Coach Auriemma.
It might be.
Maybe he's the Archie Manning in all of this.
Archie-Emma.
Dallas just has not shown that they know what they're doing and know what they're doing with a player of your ilk at that. You know what I'm saying? So, listen, I want some upheaval in the women's game. I want somebody to say, I'm better than that situation. Straight up. I'm better than that.
So crazy.
And it would be I would like to see a player like wield their power in that way. Right? This is a Dallas Wings franchise who had the number 1 and 2 pick in the recent draft, and they chose Charlie Collier and Nawak Queer, who neither of them played on their team this past season. Yeah. Charlie Collier is not even in the league.
Okay, let's be nice.
I'm
not talking about Charlie. I'm talking about I need Paige in Dallas. I don't really care about it. You know,
we're thinking long game.
Okay.
Yeah, we should have had a frozen envelope. It didn't happen.
Bro, I can't believe it didn't happen. I can't believe this should have been our rigged draft. This should have been the one. This should have been our conspiracy theory draft, and we didn't get it.
Yeah, I would like to see some maneuvering, some engineering of some back channeling. It's time. That's a hell of a headline for women's basketball, and I want to see it.
Greer's ready for player empowerment.
I
like that. That's a good hot take. I like that.
Oof.
I'm split because I do have a Vegas figures it out hot take where I don't know, man, to get back, to kind of bring it all full circle, right? And, we've talked about this in the group chat. I am fine this, for all intents and purposes for me, this is end of year Festivus airing of the grievances. There was such a heaviness with Vegas this year and a heaviness on A'ja Wilson. Every interview that you heard her, I don't know. I came away from every interview I read of her this year being are you happy? Are you good with what is going on? How is your mental for a player that talks very openly and candidly about how she has had to go through the ebbs and flows of being a professional basketball player and professional athlete. And when you factor that in, you factor in the investigation that was going on, 2 assistants, leaving and already kind of being groomed to be future head coaches, the injuries that you have, the whole tourism authority investigation, which was a completely separate investigation from the other investigation that they had this year. And I came away, and at least this is my perception. South Carolina fans, I'm sure you're listening. Feel free to tell me what a fucking idiot I am. But my perception of A'ja Wilson this year was that whether it came from external or internal factors, played with a massive weight on her shoulders. I mean, it didn't look fun. It didn't look like she was having a good time this year. It was a far, far removal from even her earlier years, but even the fucking parade when they won in Vegas, And so I do wonder if we are going to get a righting of the ship, or if that weight continues. Like, if that weight still hangs on her in a way that it has the possibility of derailing what was, a two-time two-time champion, WNBA champion franchise, right? Like I use the Bad Boy Pistons example, not in the bad boy component, but in how the Pistons were like this bridging of era team between the Lakers, Celtics, and then Jordan's Bulls. And I do wonder sometimes, like, are the Aces like the Pistons in this chronology here? I don't think that'll be the case. And so I do have a hot take of, like, if everything gets figured out and that happiness and that joy returns and some degree of even-handedness and level comes back to Vegas, if we do get the resurgence, like if we do get the return, because for all intents and purposes, man, I mean, they still ended up in the semifinals this year. Like A'ja puts together statistically the best season in WNBA history. And so they're not all that far off, but I think there's so much narrative this year about, like, the game has passed the Aces in this way, and you lose Tyler Marsh and you lose Natalie Nakase, that, like, what is the future of them? I think we have that one. My one-off supremely hot take, Kamilla Cardoso, all WNBA. Tyler Marsh, working with her. We talk about the versatility of A'ja as a player. Kamilla Cardoso is every bit the athlete, 3 inches taller, and unbelievable touch around the rim. I know that a lot of the attention is going to be paid to Angel Reese and her development with Tyler Marsh as head coach and Courtney Paris as the assistant. Yeah, I was going to get that in for you. Yeah. But to me, if you're watching what's going on in China right now with what Kamilla Cardoso is doing, granted it's a different level of competition, dog, Camilla's coming. And it would not shock me if by end of year we are talking about Kamilla as somebody that is moving into, like, the all WNBA second team category, especially as a center.
I love it. All right. Where to go with this? I'll tell you right now, as we were talking, I was like, hot take. I'll tell you just very first thought I had. Okay. And this is a continuation of a nasty rumor I've been plotting on for a minute now.
You're gonna have to define the nasty rumor, because we put so many nasty rumors in that group chat. Are we gonna think right now?
I think that the Indiana Fever make it to, at worst, the conference championships in the WNBA playoffs. The very right before the finals, at worst.
I can see that.
I think I'm feeling the Satou Sabally move to Indiana. I'm still backing it, because I think Dallas has if Dallas goes Paige at 1, this has been a whole thing across all sides now. I'm telling you, I'm seeing the vision. I'm manifesting Liatu King as their second round pick at the top of the second round to be their 4, and, like, kind of going forward into the future with Paige as their number 1 pick. And, like, that is kind of like their replacement of sorts, because Natasha Howard's going to be leaving. Obviously, it's a bit of a youth movement for Dallas. But I think Satou is leaving, and I think that ABC squared, like, this is the level. Like, we saw the progression over last season, and there's no sign to tell me that that's going to get any worse with Stephanie White coming in and with this team having a better understanding of who they are. And just Caitlin, frankly, like, we saw even just Caitlin's progression, like the last month of that for Caitlin, bro. If that is the comfortability that she's playing with over the course, if she gets an off season, she finally gets out of the limelight and gets to come back, and it looks like the connection of ABC squared is as solid as it could possibly be right now. It looked like they're on each other's Instagram comments, guys, like everything just seems fantastic right now. Vibes are fantastic in Indiana. And I think it's going to translate. I really do. Like we saw, like it's not like the flashes weren't there last season or anything. It's not going to be some like surprise in the way that they get it done. I think it's going to be a lot of the same. I just think it's going to be elevated and evolving to another level with the players that they're going to have around them, with a potential rookie coming in that I think like finding kind of a wing potentially to kind of fill that spot, whether it's through the draft or if it is Satu. I feel like a run is very, very plausible. And I think it's going to be both Aaliyah and Caitlin playing at all WNBA level. And I think Aaliyah really takes the next step in that two-man game becomes what I think we had kind of hoped to see a little bit more early on and like quicker. I think we get that, and I think to a higher level than we had hoped for in year one. I think we get it this year, and I think they make a deep run in the playoffs.
I need that Minnesota Lynx Indiana Fever playoff series so badly.
So bad.
Maya Moore's going to come running out the tunnel like Bill Murray in Space Jam. Like,
I need it.
Yeah, no, that'd be so fun. Like I think this is the level up year. I think it comes quick. It feels like they're invested. Like they got the coaching, they made their move that they feel like they need to make. I think in the offseason, like I said, whether it be through the draft and getting a good player or through free agency, something's gonna shake out, like to build around Caitlin in this way. Now that they have a year of seeing it in person, and I look forward to it. I'm back in the Fever organization right now.
I think they're doing everything right. One thing to keep in mind, and granted, Caitlin is different because she is like the singularity, so like the motion's never going to die in that way. But I think about how Sabrina Ionescu talked about Caitlin's entrance to the league this year and how so much pressure came off because all of the pressure had been transferred to another player. And while I don't think Paige comes in with the same degree of fanfare as Caitlin, and I don't think Caitlin's motion will pull her away from the spotlight the way Sabrina's kind of did, I do wonder, to your point, the WNBA's obsession with the shiny new thing, and its obsession with marketing the shiny new thing, which I've had ex-commissioners tell me it's a very concerted effort the W does to try and bring people into the league via their college fandom. They go hard on rookies, super duper duper hard on rookies. And you know, we asked this question about coverage equity a lot about, well, why are they advertising Sabrina at the expense of A'ja? Well, there is an absolute discussion to be had about racial equity and bias that exists, be it conscious or unconscious. There is also an effort that the W makes to say, well, the Oregon fan base is coming in and we expect that the South Carolina fan base is already here for A'ja. So we're going to go hard on marketing Sabrina so we can bring all the people that came with Sabrina into the league with us. And I'm curious to see if Caitlin has changed that within the league office in the last year, or if it's going to be the same with Paige. And if they're saying we're going to market Paige versus Caitlin all year long, and in doing so, that pulls some of the attention off of Caitlin and gives her the ability to kind of just be a basketball player again. And we get a little more of the personality and less of the weight that Sabrina Ionescu talked about this past year, being like, I can finally be myself. I'm curious if we get that, not to the same degree, obviously, but I'm curious if we get that at all. And if we do, I think that actually is going to work out for the Fever long term.
The one reason why I think that may not happen is because in Paige's case, UConn fans already love the WNBA.
Yeah, they're here. Yeah, that's a good point.
You know what I mean?
You're bringing the TikTok girls. That's who's on the way.
You know what I'm saying? Now that's a different discussion.
The TikTok girls they're on the way. The TikTokers are on the way. I've been seeing the page.
That's a different discussion. But in terms of like hardcore basketball fans, you know, this is going to be our, what is it, 5th number 1 pick or something like that? Crazy.
Oh, so she's going to Dallas?
Crazy. She can still go number 1. Dallas is going to trade it later.
Oh, okay. No, I got to keep up. You know, that's on me. That's
number 1, but LA's going to come up with a haul. You know what I'm saying? That's going to make it. You know?
Here's a hot take question for you, because we'll cap it at like the hour, but I'm curious. Paige obviously is taking all the energy here going into the draft. if we're gonna add a coda to the hot take of 2025, who is your hottest take for next best rookie or surprise rookie in 2025? Like, if you had to plant a flag now that could be very right or very wrong, who do you think coming out this year or projected to come out is the player that you're like, I am convinced of their greatness? Like, I am convinced it's gonna work.
I think if I was to put like if rookie of the year, I'd say Miles, like Olivia playing in Chicago. Like, and I don't think that, like, obviously it's number 2, right? That's like, or like right there, or LA, excuse me, like really whatever, honestly, whichever one, but more than likely LA, for Olivia. But I've been thinking about this last couple of days actually. I think Sonia Citron is going to change the landscape of the WNBA by becoming the first premier true 3-and-D player. As we see the W continuing to move into 3-point shooting, where we see coaches coming in that are really emphasizing that, I think obviously we've had 3-and-D players before, so I don't want to take away from any but when it comes to players coming up and being able to truly be that 3-and-D knockdown, I'm spreading the floor for my star bigs and locking down on the other end. Sonia could be what I feel like even when you look at like other players now in college, like a Kennedy Smith, for example, like I think Kennedy Smith potentially could be a larger player than just that role. But even Kennedy Smith being like a 3-and-D player, like even if it's like early on in her development in college, like I feel like the 3-and-D archetype is increasingly on the way in women's basketball. And I feel like Sonia in this rookie class is the player for that, especially if she ends up in a place where her job is to spread the floor, like a Chicago, for example.
Okay, so I'm gonna zag. We've talked about it a little bit, Tyler, but I saw a clip the other day on Twitter of Big Foe shooting in New York with the WNBA basketball.
Hello, could mean something, could mean everything.
I'm going Flage. If she enters, I'm going Flage.
I like that. I like that a lot.
I think Flage's ceiling is like incredible for real. Yeah, I'm going Flage.
I like that pick. That's a good one. Andrew, who's yours?
I mean, I don't think Dominique Malonga is a zag. I am putting the Patrick Mahomes comp on her. And the reason I put the Mahomes comp on her is I think it's going to be like a year and she might be on the bench and people kind of forget. And then she grows into her frame like after one season and then becomes a fucking alien. And everyone is like, holy shit, who the hell is this? And the reason I say that is because although she was 17 this summer in the Olympics, if she was ready now, she'd have played more for France against Team USA. And if she was like that kind of player, like they'd be putting her up against A'ja Wilson, right? So I don't think she's there yet. Like I think maybe a year of development for her, and then she's gonna like be Mahomesian in that way. I am plant the flag. The hottest take I have, a player that I think is going to work really great in the league. In the second round, with the first pick, I think we end up with the LA Sparks taking Gianna Neepkins out of Utah, reuniting with her former head coach, Lynn Roberts.
I like that a lot. Yeah.
I have never been more convinced of a player's underrated potential than her. Because last year, if she doesn't blow her knee out, Utah's probably back in the Elite Eight or back in the Sweet 16, if not the Elite Eight, if not maybe the Final Four.
If not the Final Four.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Like,
100%.
Like, dude, her and Alyssa Pilley was one of the nastiest two-person games in the sport. And again, I'll bring it up till the day I die because the replay is going to give me nightmares, and it might be the last thing I see before I meet Jimmy Carter. But like shouts to Jimmy, we love you. But like the the craziest thing to me is the fact that they were so goddamn close to beating national champion LSU.
Bro.
If not for two missed free throws and one missed rebound. People forget about the missed rebound too. If not for two missed free throws and one missed rebound, Utah's in the Elite Eight. And they probably beat Miami. And then they end up in the Final Four. And on
Crazy
that side of the
timeline.
bracket, they might end up in the national championship against Caitlin Clark's Iowa. And there's no promise that Caitlin Clark's Iowa beats that Utah team because I don't think Monica Zanano can run around the floor with Alyssa Pili all game. And so that she lost an entire year of press because of the injury. Because going into last season, bro, Gianna Kneepkens was coming off being the dog class winner at Kelsey Plum's camp. And you think of all of the
all Pac-12 first team.
Like, it's all there. The accolades are there. I'm loving it. I love this pick. I'm convinced.
Pick this up real quick because I'm gonna go look at who was in that dog class with her. Hang on one sec. Okay,
I'm with you. I'm so in on this. Yeah,
the dog class, the season that she won. Azzi, Deja Kelly, Diamond Miller, Georgia Amore, Kneepkens, Haley Van Lith, KK Bransford, Raven Johnson, Rory Harmon. And she walked away the winner in the dog class that year. Like, people sleep heavily on her. And she is the exact type of player with the exact type of mental makeup that can be extraordinarily successful. There's not a lot of stories of second-round WNBA players becoming that level of star. She, I think, and she is a prime example, and this is where I'll leave it. She is the prime example of why women's basketball is moving in the direction that it's in because the depth of the league is getting so much better. It's already an insanely hard league to make. But what is starting to happen is we're starting to see players down the line start to make rosters and start to end up in places where they have the ability to be successful. That stuff wasn't happening a couple years ago in that same respect. So Gianna Kneepkens, that is someone that maybe this is like the ultimate whiff, but like I will stake my damn career that girl's going to have a career in the WNBA.
I love it. I think that's a fantastic shout. Well, y'all, I think that's where we'll leave it. To cap off 2024, again, we've been saying thank y'all really all month as we've hit the milestone here on YouTube, and on our website, nocastbasewb.com. But truthfully, thank you for the support in this. We're coming up on a year here. Once we get into 2025, it'll be about a year in No Cap Space. But as we enter into this new year, we're incredibly thankful for your support, and we hope that you not only stick around, but be tapped into what we have coming up next because we've been behind the scenes, we've been working, getting ready for 2025. So over the course of the first 2 months or so of 2025, be on the lookout for some exciting stuff coming from No Cap Space. But
2.0.
For Tyler, Andrew, and Greer, this was Ball Up Top, and we'll see you next time.